Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of the dev playthrough of my Romhack Pokémon Victory. I'm KFM and I'm the creator of this Romhack, and if you haven't seen part 1, please go and watch that. It's pretty long because I like rambling and talking about my own game. But please watch that so you have context for this part. And spoiler warning, I'm going to be spoiling pretty much every secret throughout this playthrough. So if you haven't played the game yet, please consider doing so before you watch this. But other than that, I guess we'll just pick off where we left off last time. So we're just heading out into Route 2, which is the first proper route with trainers on in the game. Something I can mention right off the bat is that little patch down in the right there that doesn't have grass on it. I think in regular Pokemon games you would consider that to maybe be a spot where a hidden item would be located. You can go and check, but there's nothing there because I am not a fan of hidden items. I think they mostly detract from the experience. Oh, Pidgey. Since they're invisible and you can't see them, so you have to sort of guess where they are, which I don't think is super bad in and of itself. Oh, I'm gonna get rolled here. Nope, never mind. But what it does is that it sort of indoctrinates you with this idea that there could be hidden items anywhere. And I don't really like that, because it... Jesus. Okay. Damn. We're just gonna have to fight this Pidgey? It's not letting me leave. Well, it's fine to get some levels, I guess. But yeah, hidden items, not a huge fan. It makes you just want to go around and press A on every single spot in the entire game that you think there might be an item at, which I think is a waste of time. It's not the kind of like secret finding that I'm a fan of, because there's nothing... I mean, there's no real skill involved. I mean, I guess you're like guessing where items could be. I'm not catching that. But most of the time you're just walking around pressing A everywhere to make sure that you're not missing anything. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, let's keep going. Trainer spotted, now we battle. First battle, or trainer battle I should say, of the game. Very, very easy, although he does have 2 Pokemon. I feel like it follows pretty classic Pokemon trope of having a youngster as your first battle. I don't think every game does that, but I know a lot of them do. We're just gonna try to tackle this guy for as much as we can, then we'll switch to Mudkip. Oh yeah, Zigzagoon. Not the normal Zigzagoon. Galarian Zigzagoon. And I guess that's a pretty good segue to me talking about the Pokemon that are available in this game. I'm old, or relatively old, it depends on who you ask. But when I grew up playing Gens 2 and 3 mostly. So I'm a huge fan of Gens 1, 2, and 3 when it comes to the Pokemon that they offer. I like Gen 4, although a lot of things started to change in Gen 4. Some good, some not so good in my opinion. And Gen 5 I think is okay, and then after that, well, we don't have to talk too much about that. But yeah, so this game contains mostly Gens 1 to 3. With some variations, some exceptions, like you saw the Zigzagoon. Zigzagoon is a Gen 3 Pokemon, but it got a regional form in Gen 8, I believe. And I decided to use that regional form because I'm quite fond of it. And you'll see that pop up a lot. There's several regional forms. And there's also Pokemon from Gens 4 to 9. But they are by far the minority. So you just bear that in mind if you start playing this game, which I hope you do, that the Pokemon on offer are mostly Gens 1 to 3. But it's a completely custom Pokédex. I don't have all Pokemon from Gens 1 to 3. I just picked the ones that I liked and that I could redesign in a fun way, or if they were already fun to begin with. Because that is something that I have done in this game, or for this game. I did it with a friend of mine over many years. We picked a bunch of Pokemon that we liked, and then we redesigned them. And with redesign, I obviously don't mean that we changed the way they look. Again, I'm not an artist. I'm going to be saying that a lot through this series, I think. But we did change everything else about them. So stats are changed, movesets are changed, abilities, even in some rare cases, evolutions are actually changed. But that's very, very specific cases. So it's very, very different from regular games. I think we can actually take a look at this Ledyba here, or the next Ledyba, because I know this guy has two, using the Dex menu. And I'll show you, oh, very nice, a bit of what I mean. Another Ledyba. Now if we look at the Dex menu and swap to Ledyba, we can see that it's Fairy type, Bug Fairy type. So obviously that's not a thing in the real games, but that's just an example of the type changes that I have made. And this improves the Dex menu, or makes the Dex menu a lot more valuable for a game like a Romhack, such as this one, where you're used to Ledyba being bug flying, right? Or is it only bug? No, I think it's bug flying. And I've changed that, and you don't know that as a first-time player, so it can be a little bit frustrating to run into a Pokemon. You think it's one type, so you attack it with a certain move, and it turns out it's something completely different, and you're thinking, okay, how was I supposed to know that? I had no idea. And no, you're not supposed to know that, of course, but now you can actually check using the Dex menu, so hopefully that can avoid some frustration. If you do attack a Pokemon with a specific type of move and you see that it's like immune to it or resists it and you're not sure why, then use the Dex menu to see if the typing has changed. There are type shard changes too, some buffs and some nerfs to some types, but they are very minimal, and we can look at those later because they're explained once we get to the school. Alright, Pidgey, again. I think we should start maybe beating some of these wild Pokemon, because we need to level up a little bit, I think. Even though the game is pretty tame here in the beginning, I would say the first sort of difficulty bump, not even sure it's a difficulty spike, it's a difficulty bump, is the first fight we'll have in the, not the next town actually, but the town after that. I'll tell you when it pops up, and I think we should have time for that battle in this episode today. Alright. Very good, let's talk to this guy. I'm out here looking for Ledyba, they're my favorite Pokemon. Here, let me tell you all I know about them. An evolution requirement for Ledyba has been learned. So this is new. NPCs around the world can tell you information on how to evolve certain Pokemon. I'm just gonna skip this trainer quickly and heal, I think. Yeah. So that guy told us an evolution requirement for Ledyba, which is one of the, well, requirements to evolve that Pokemon, and you need to meet all the requirements that a Pokemon has in order for it to evolve, because Pokemon no longer evolve automatically just from leveling up. No Pokemon does, not a single one. They all evolve through a menu that I will show you now, yes. I'm trying to like paste this in my head and figure out when I should be showing things, but I guess we can show the evolution menu now. You won't be able to see too much, but when you open the party menu and you press a Pokemon, you get this sub menu that you're used to, but it has two more entries here at the bottom. We'll focus on evolution for now, because that's what we're talking about. And if you press evolution, you go into the evolution menu. And as you can tell, this is another menu that I've created myself because the background is completely white. But this menu shows you what you can evolve into. So we're looking at Tyrogue right now, and we have these 3 question marks that I can cycle between using the D-pad. And these are the 3 evolutions of Tyrogue. Now, if you play Pokemon, you know that Tyrogue evolves into Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, or Hitmontop. And those are obviously the 3 Pokemon that are hidden behind the question marks here. You don't know, or the player character doesn't know, that Tyrogue evolves into these. You can show these sprites, or the 3 Pokemon that Tyrogue evolves into, by meeting the requirements required to evolve into them. Or having them in your having caught them and having them in your Pokédex, I believe. I'm honestly not quite sure about that because I don't remember. You can see little question marks there at the bottom. Those are the requirements. You can see the left question mark here has 2 requirements. The middle one has also 2 requirements, and the third one has 3 requirements. So an extra requirement for this one, evolution all the way over here. And these are the requirements that you can unlock. So if I had a Ledyba, I could be looking at Ledyba right now, and one of these triple question marks would be a line of text, which is the requirement to evolve. I'll show you this eventually, either if I catch a Ledyba or some later ones. I can use up and down to cycle between my party Pokemon, so here we have Mudkip. And Mudkip only has 1 big question mark here because it obviously only evolves into Marshtomp. I hope all that makes sense. If not, it's gonna make more sense as we keep going. I think I will catch a Ledyba after this trainer here to show you a little bit more of what I mean. This guy is a Pikachu. I don't know if you caught his name there, the trainer's name, but his name is Ash. So yeah, I did tell you in episode 1 that there are references in this game. Ash with a Pikachu, that's obviously Ash Ketchum from the anime with his Pikachu. I don't think this kid is actually him, but it's just a reference. You'll see his name here in a second. Oh, Karate Chop, excellent. We definitely want that. We want to keep Tackle. Helping Hand is useless. Very good. Yeah, Youngster Ash. Sorry, I sort of sped through his name there again, but it said Youngster Ash. And mark my words, one day my Pikachu and I will be champions. He did become champion, didn't he? The anime ended with him actually becoming the champion, I think. I didn't watch it, I just heard about it. Another fun fact that I guess I can show you for no reason, really, other than showing you, is that that trainer is actually the guy that we saw earlier on this route. And he's not here right now, obviously, because he's, let me snap back, over here, and we just beat him. So he's the same guy that fought Brendan before. He moves over there, and then you fight him. First town, or I guess second town, but the first town that you get to, that's not the starting town. Should I guess I'll talk to all the NPCs. You guys can see their text. This NPC just tells you about the Pokécenters, what they are. Shortened Pokécenter text. So it's really just 2 button presses to start healing, and then another one to go away or leave the conversation. Big TV screen in the corner. This is new. We can't do anything with it yet, but it'll be relevant later. Oh yeah, this NPC tells you that you can run by holding the B button. So I mentioned this earlier in the first episode, but you unlock running from the start, and for players that don't figure that out immediately, this NPC is here to sort of maybe give you a second hint towards that. This old gentleman talks about nature, EVs, and IVs, which are all, I would say, advanced Pokemon concepts, but if you're a fan of Pokemon games, you definitely know what these are. However, as this gentleman says, IVs and EVs don't take effect in this region. Because I turned them off. Which is, I don't think super common, but it's probably been done before. It just reduces the variety, or the RNG, you could also say, of the Pokemon that you catch. Because EVs and IVs change the stats of your Pokemon. You can catch like another Tyrogue here, for example, and that Tyrogue will have different IVs because they are just set when you catch the Pokemon, or when the Pokemon is generated or created in code. And it'll change its stats. So two Tyrogues that are both the same level, for example level 7, would have different stats, or could have different stats. They're likely to have different stats in the real games. But in my game, they have exactly the same stats, except for the change that is created by different natures. So natures are still in the game, and they work exactly the same as in normal games. We have the Brave nature here, it says at the bottom, and Brave gives us more attack, which is the red number here, and less speed, which is the blue number. 10%, I believe, increase and decrease. So nature's in the game, EVs and IVs are not in the game. Pokemon Mart, these guys don't really say anything. I don't think anyone in the marts do, they just have flavor text. I'll leave the flavor text for you guys to figure out, unless it's something very specific that I want to show. Store, very simple store page to begin with. Wow, Ether's actually quite expensive, I didn't think of that. I'm pretty sure I've reduced the price of Pokeballs a bit, just to make it, easier to buy more. I don't see why not. And I've super reduced the price for Repel and Lure. Lure is in this game, by the way. Repel makes Mons not likely to appear, and Lure makes Mons more likely to appear, so you got both options here. But yeah, they're super cheap, because I think if you want to buy Repels and use them to get through areas without fighting Pokemon, you should be able to do that pretty easily without spending too much money. So it's very, very cheap. This guy gives us a little bit of a lure drop. There is a lady called Lucy who lives in this house over here, and she takes care of a bunch of orphans. Near the bottom of the sign there's some text: come inside for Pokemon battles. So I created this house again very early on, or this entire area very early on in the project's lifespan. And if you go in here, you can talk to this young lad standing in front of this staircase. He says his Pokemon is level 6 and you can battle him, and he's not too difficult. He has an Eevee, which is a theme for all the battlers in this house. They all have Eevee, or evolutions, or evolutions I should say. And there are a lot of them. And there is a special reward waiting for you at the end if you beat all of them. So we'll defeat this first guy, no problem. We have a fighting type, which makes it even easier. Loads of XP. And once he's defeated, he will leave and go and fetch his older brother, which we can talk to. But he doesn't really want to fight us because he doesn't think we look very tough. So we need a gym badge. So this is the first very obvious example of backtracking in the game. You have to go and get the first gym badge to beat this guy, or to fight this guy, try to beat him. Once you defeat him, there is another who you can fight immediately, and after him there are two more, I think, one or two more, And to fight those guys, you need... well, eventually you need all 3 badges, actually. All 3 badges that are available in the demo. Once you beat all of them, you can go downstairs, and you'll find the caretaker, I guess, of this house, Lucy, who is just an NPC. You can fight her for one final, slightly difficult battle, or difficult for the demo at least. She's quite high leveled. And if you beat her, you get an Eevee as a reward. Now, the Eevee as a reward is actually an interesting topic that I could ramble a little bit about now, I guess. We can ramble about it more later too. But there are several Eevee rewards. You can get one here. You can get one in Verdanoak City, which is a city we'll get to much later. And throughout the game, my idea is that you can get Eevees from various places as rewards. Now you might be thinking, wow, Eevee as a reward for these challenges isn't very fun. I just keep getting the same reward. I can just breed Eevee or its evolutions and get more Eevees. No, you cannot, because I have removed breeding in the game. Or well, I haven't removed it, but it's not... there's nowhere to do it, so you can't do it. And removing breeding allows me to have rewards like Eevee in several places. Because you want a lot of Eevees, right? Because it's got, what, like 7 or 8 evolutions, and I have most of those in the game. So you'll want a lot of Eevees to eventually get all of those evolutions. This hole here, moving on to this hole here, well, it's a crater, I guess, it's a tunnel, is something new that I've added. My hope is that players see this tunnel as they enter the Poké Center, because you can see it from here. Maybe walk over to it, interact with it, see what it says. Maybe you can figure out what this hole is for just by reading this text, but this will become relevant later. And I won't speak too much about it now, but it does help eventually with backtracking this hole. Nothing up here. Like, there's literally nothing up there. The map just ends. You can't get up here, obviously. I have some plans for the map, some backtracking plans, some HMs that might let you get over this area, so to speak, but that is not in the demo, and would just be for the full game. But let's keep going, and as we do, we see Brandon here, standing in our way. I didn't talk much about this guy before, but I have said several times that I'm not an artist. I did make his sprite on my own. I also made the sprite in the actual battle, which you will see here. So I've made some sprites, and they are placeholder for sure, but I feel like they're better than nothing. And yeah, that's him. I think he looks alright. I have a lot of problems with his sprite and his design, but it's more than good enough for the demo, I feel like, so he got to stay. And there are some custom sprites that you will see as we play through the game. He is one of them. And the gym leaders you will see also have custom sprites. Counter, not really useful, but sure. Actually no, I quite like... yeah, I don't really need Endure, I guess. What was I thinking of? I forgot. Let's just beat this guy. Oh yeah, no, I know what I was thinking of. I was thinking about how hard this guy was before. I think I mentioned this in the first episode as well, but in the previous versions of this game, his Chikorita was level 7 or even level 8, and that meant it learned its stab move. Well, Chikorita always has its stab move actually, because it learns it at level 3, but the other mons learn their stab moves at level 7. Chikorita learns Leaf Shield at 7, which made it way harder to fight this guy. Now he's pretty much a pushover. No problem at all. He gets quite a lot stronger quite quickly though. Alright, not a problem. I'm peering over at my other screen to see my time, and we've already... wow, okay. I ramble a lot, but that's fine, I guess. Well, that's what this playthrough is for. We're just gonna keep going. Alright, Route 3. I am very happy with this route. I like its design a lot. It's got water, it's got bridges, it's got lots of branching paths. Little house down here that you can't access. Your first knee-jerk reaction is probably that you can surf over, which you absolutely can if you have surf, but spoilers, surf is not in the demo. There is, however, a little shrub over there. I'll use my mouse cursor to point it out, but I think you can see it. And that might be the clue as to how we get over to that house, but again, more on that later. Oh. I don't know if you guys heard that, but we just heard the cry of Spinarak. You can definitely catch Spinarak here. You can also catch Zigzagoon, which we will catch actually, because I want a Zigzagoon for various reasons. So let's beat it very easily with our Tyrogue and throw our Pokeball after it's fainted. There are, I think, 6 Pokemon to catch on this route. There's Zigzagoon and Pidgey, which are also in the previous routes. There is Oddish, there is Wooper, there is Sentret, I believe. I think Sentret is here. And there is also Spinarak, which we heard the cry of. Spinarak is a bit rarer than the others. I think it's on a maybe 5 or 10% chance to find. Not a huge fan of super rare Pokemon because it just keeps you walking around in grass, hoping for a low percentage chance roll, which is a bit boring, I think. But I guess 10% is fine. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, in the previous route that we were on, Route 2, that route has Zigzagoon, Pidgey, Ledyba, just like Route 1, but it also features Ekans. So 1 more Pokemon there. Lave River, not Lava River, by the way. Lave has to do with water, you can look it up. You can fish for Magikarp, is what this guy says, and he's absolutely right, you can catch Magikarps here. I wouldn't do it if I were you, because you cannot evolve it in the demo, so it's going to be pretty darn useless for you. I've kept the whole Magikarp gimmick of it being incredibly weak until it evolves. It's stronger. I think it's actually pretty fast, but it's still useless. It learns like Splash, Tackle, Flail still, so it's not very strong at all. Alright, 1 more Magikarp. Actually, let's check its speed stat. I don't know, or I don't remember what speed stat Tyrogue has, so it's going to be hard to compare, but yeah, look at that. Tyrogue is level 10 and it's got 9 speed. Magikarp is level 8 and it's got 17 speed. That is double. That's insane. So it's very fast. I think it's like base 80, base 90. I don't know. It's very fast. Which doesn't matter if you can't do anything with it, but still. Critical hit, wow. Oh yeah, Karate Chop is +1 crit, isn't it? Detect. Detect is, I mean, kinda useless. So is Counter though. Yeah, I'll remove Counter. Nice. You defeated the Fisherman Elias. Thank you very much. I will be fighting most trainers, by the way, just for experience. The game is sort of designed to, or it's designed for the player to always fight the trainers to keep up with the level curve, sort of, or at least that was my idea. So you should be fine as long as you fight everything. Now Doduo is a very good example of a Pokemon that I've changed typings of, just like Ledyba. It is Flying Ground, which I don't think is immediately obvious to players, so definitely remember to use your Dex menu to check out typings as you go. Wow, our Mudkip is level 7. I've been neglecting our first starter here. But we should be two-shotting this with Water Gun as long as we hit, which we probably won't now. Thank you, Mudslap, very cool. Another Mudslap. all trainers have a basic trainer AI, by the way, and which is AI that's included in RHH's Pokemon Emerald decompilation project. And it's pretty good AI. They're pretty smart. Like, they will use moves that lower your stats and do good damage, and you know, they won't just randomly pick moves like wild Pokemon. Alright, what are we on? -5? -5, so it's probably gonna use Mudslap one more time, so we'll try one more Water Gun. And I think it's either gonna use another Mudslap now, or it's gonna use Peck. Peck will knock us out. Let's go 6 Goon. I'm gonna get unlucky. Okay, use Peck. Okay, good that it didn't switch to Tyrogue then. We can Sand Attack because we are not killing it with Tackle. That did 4, I believe. Now I wonder if the AI is clever enough to know it knocks me out with Peck here, or if it's just gonna go for more. Nope, it knows. Wow, and I said my game was easy. Crazy. It's probably gonna knock us out with Peck, but we'll hope for the best. Oh, unlucky. Alright, well, it looks like we are in big trouble. Wiping in my own home Pokemon game? Is that even allowed? I guess we're tackling. This does more of it crits, right? We'll tackle. Crazy that it uses Mudslap. Crazy that it hasn't missed as well, by the way. Okay. Feint is priority, right? Okay, we miss. And we're dead. Oh, well. Shit happens, I guess. So as you can see, my game is very easy. It's very hard to wipe to trainers. You know, like I said, I've nerfed it a lot. That was a lie, I just suck. Actually, to be fair, I got quite unlucky with the misses. But we'll beat him next time. Or this time, rather. See, these are the moments where I really want to speed up. Like, my speed up, the finger I used to press the speed up button is like hovering over the speed up button, but I'm like stopping myself for pressing it, because I want to just go through this. Or maybe I should speed up when I'm not rambling, I don't know. But we should be fine here. Nice. They should kill. Never mind, let's get one more. Nice. Pretty lucky this time around. Let's give us some nice experience. Some very nice experience, apparently. Damn. Alrighty, let's keep going. Oh, I don't know if you noticed this before, but there's definitely a cave over there in the water. Pointing it out to you with my mouse here. You obviously can't get to it, and you might be wondering how you're supposed to get into a cave that's under the water, maybe through dive, which, I mean, that's a pretty good guess actually. But no, I have future plans for this area. I have an idea where you actually drain this lake or this river of water, so all this water disappears and you can walk down there, and then you can enter this cave. But that's not in the demo, so don't have to worry too much about that. Over here are some berries that we're gonna pick up. Oh yeah, there are Centrets here. I was right. Very good. Let's defeat you to get some experience. There's berries in the game. There's berry plants in the game, just like the regular Gen 3 games. I've changed the way berries regrow, actually. Oh, nice 2-shot. Not gonna catch you. So in the regular games, berries regrow. Lovely. I'm just gonna run from this. I want to talk about. I'm actually not gonna run from this because I want this. Oddish is something I definitely want, and we don't have anything super good against Oddish. Let's go to Tyro. But yeah, berries. They don't regrow over time, just like the regular, or in the regular games. in my game, they regrow after battles. So I think most berries have a 12 battle growth duration. So you win, or you don't even have to win, you just have to do 12 battles, and then the berry's gonna be grown to full, and you can pick it. Which I think is much nicer than having to just wait real time. Like this way you can actually speed it up if you so want to. You could grind berries, which is, I think, a much better mechanic than just having to wait actual time. So let's pick these up. Oran berries, I believe, and probably pecha berries. Poison curing, I think. Yes, sir. We're almost already on 40 minutes. This playthrough is going to be actually like 20 hours at this rate. We're gonna finish this route though. So here I have some grass in the corner. If you sort of just walk past this grass like this, because obviously you see that you're supposed to go up, you don't notice anything out of the ordinary, but if you pay attention, or if you walk a little bit closer, you can see that in the bottom right, I'll use my mouse cursor here again, the grass sort of goes down past this big tree here. So this is one of the game's first secrets. And like I said before, spoiler warning, all secrets will be spoiled, because I know where they all are, surprise. So you walk down here. I should really buy repels so I can put them on when I want to make a point to prevent myself from getting interrupted by wild Pokemon. You walk down here and you find this little bush. This is a secret lair bush from Gen 3, but it's opened. There's no secret lairs in this game. Wait, are they called? No, they're called secret bases, sorry. I call them secret lairs because there's Pokemon inside, but in the real games they're called secret bases. There's no secret bases in my game, sorry. I've remade them into secret bases, which are these little openings that you can walk into, and there's a Pokemon inside. And this is a lovely Pokemon, Lotad, although we do have Mudkip. So there's a Pokemon inside, it walks around, and it walks relative to you. So as you can see, Lotad is sort of copying our movement here, or it's like copying our movement but one rotation clockwise or counterclockwise. So you sort of had to figure out how to get him to, or walk into him so you can talk to him. And then you can battle him and you can try to catch him. If you defeat him without catching him, he's gone forever. Unlucky. But if otherwise, you can obviously catch him. These secret lairs, as I call them, are spread out here and there. There's 5 of them in the demo, and they all offer mostly Pokemon that you can only find in those lairs, or at least you can only find these Pokemon in the lairs during the demo. This first lair is an exception because Lotad you can find later in the demo, and some other mons that you can get here you can also find later. And on that note, the Pokemon that you find here is random between 4 possible choices. So in this lair you can catch Lotad, but you can also get a Caterpie, a Weedle, or a Pineco. Caterpie and Weedle show up later in the forest, and Pineco you can only catch here. So if you're lucky, you'll get a Pineco. The way the game chooses which Pokemon to give you here is not completely random actually, but it's based on your trainer ID. So if we go to our trainer card, we have an ID number in the top right here. Don't remember how many bits this number is, I'll be honest, but the code basically looks at the bits of your trainer ID and checks to see what Pokemon to display. I'm not going to go too much into code specifics, but if you know what that means, you know what that means. But basically, it's dependent on your trainer ID, and this matters because your trainer ID is set in stone when you create a new save file. So you can't just walk in and out of the secret lair to try to force a new Pokemon to appear. Like once you create your character, the Pokemon, or all the Pokemon that you'll find in all the secret lairs is set in stone. It's not going to change. So I hope for your sake that you roll a good trainer ID, because there's definitely... I was about to say some good and some bad Pokemon in there. That's not true. They're all pretty good. I would say so, at least. And the Lotad we got is probably my favorite out of the 4 that you can get there. I like Lotad a lot. I think grass and water is a crazy combination, but we'll now have Mudkip, obviously. And I'm not a huge fan of using Pokemon of the same types, which is very funny, because the gimmick in this game sort of wants you to use Pokemon of the same types. And that's why I made the gimmick that way, because I wanted to encourage a type of playing the game that I'm not... Well, I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of it. I'm absolutely a fan of it, but I don't do it myself. I don't play like that. But yeah, you'll see more about the gimmick later. Let's heal up a little bit for this fight. Let's heal Tyro. Actually, does Oddish know Acid? It doesn't. No, it doesn't. Otherwise we would sweep. Probably gonna bench Lotad. Yes, we are. We're gonna run Oddish. Alright, last trainer of the route. She is mandatory, you can't pass her. I guess she's the hardest. She's got 3 Pokemon. Ew, Oddish is unfortunate. Crit? Oh, that was a crit, hell yeah. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, keep boosting. This NPC, if you... Oh, we're speed type. This NPC, if you talk to her after the battle, actually hints that there is a secret lair on this route. Lovely, double crit. Crit definitely mattered in there. But yeah, she hints at there being a secret lair, just to give players a little nudge. Ledyba is Bug Fairy. Wait, does it know Bug Bite? There's no way. Some bugs know Bug Bite early and they are so strong. Bug, I buffed Bug. Bug is good. Wow, that's annoying. It 4 times resists Tyrug though. Do we have anything fun to use here? What do you have? Nothing. Okay, Lotad I guess is fine if it doesn't have Bug Bite. This is when it Bug Bites me. Oop. Nudge. New move, by the way. Nudge. I made that. It's a fairy type tackle. Very low base power. But as far as I know, there's no low powered physical fairy moves that mons can learn early. So I made one. Just as a little filler move for fairy types to have some stab early on. There are several moves that I made and put into the game. We'll see some of them as we go. Some of them are hidden behind higher levels, and a lot of them are not in the demo, obviously. Very nice. Was that the last one? No, it's just one more, right? Oddish, Ledyba, Lotad. This is where I wish Oddish had Acid, but that's fine. Oh, I remember what I didn't do. I didn't fight that fisherman down there. I was saving him for my Oddish, actually, because he's got 2 Whoopers and we can just absorb both of them for good experience. Oh, look at that! We became wet. That is new. I made that as well. It's a new status effect. Oh darn, I should have shown what it does through the Dex menu, but it's very likely going to pop up later, so I'll show you when we get to it again. But yeah, it's a new status effect, and I think it is very broken in what it does. It's very, very strong, but I like it. I like it a lot, actually, so it stayed in the game. During testing, there was one person that used Wet as one of their predominant strategies, and it worked very well, so I'm very happy with it. Alright, this guy, 2 Whoopers. He is now the last trainer for us on this route. Let's just beat him real quick. Very Very nice. Nice experience boost. I've changed every single Pokemon's experience yield, by the way. And I think in general it's higher than normal. Not a lot higher, but it is higher. Instead of going into every single Pokemon and giving them an individual value, which the real game does, which is, I mean, that's a lot of values to change. I just made like 9 base values, I think. Some low, some medium, and some high values. And then I spread them out to different Pokemon that I think fit with said values. Just based on like feeling and the Pokemon's distribution on routes as well can determine how much XP it gives. I've seen people walk on this. I've seen nobody comment on this. There's a staircase here, which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't lead to anywhere except the water. But if you remember before, I said I had an idea of removing all this water, sort of draining the river. And when that happens, this staircase will lead down to down below here, and you can walk around. So that's why this staircase is here. It doesn't do anything now, and honestly it looks a tiny bit weird, I guess, but it stayed. A Great Ball. All Great Balls contain evolution items. This evolution item is called Brown Crest, a small and ruffled brown feather. They all have this question mark sprite, because, again, I haven't made sprites for them. They go in our evolution items pocket, which is the new pocket that I talked about in the first episode. It's here instead of the Pokeball pocket. There's plenty of these items, and as you might have guessed by the name of the pocket and the items, they are used for not evolving Pokemon directly, but they're used for unlocking evolution requirements for Pokemon. Alright, so we are just about to enter the next town, and I think we will enter the next town. I'm looking at the clock here, and we've been recording, or I've been recording for a really long time. Time passes by quickly when I ramble on. But this is Riverhaven, the 3rd town. It is one of my favorite towns easily, because I'm really happy with the design. And I think we're actually going to stop here, and we'll explore Riverhaven and everything it has to offer next time. Let me get into a nice ending position. What do I want next to me? Oddish? Yeah. We'll have Oddish, and then we'll have me like that. Wow, very cool. We'll save here. And yeah, once again, thank you everyone for watching. This episode became even longer than the first one, and I feel like I made even less progress because I'm just rambling and talking so much. But it's a lot of fun. I hope you guys are enjoying following this playthrough, at least to some degree. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.